Hey folks, do you believe in astrology? Because I think it's fun to think about the stars and the planets, guiding our personality and life choices. But if I'm honest, I just think it's pseudoscience. I mean, astrology doesn't really rely on evidence, experimentation, falsifiability, kind of the things that make up science, right? The zodiac was mapped out over 2,000 years ago, but of course, thanks to the Earth's axial tilt, those constellations don't even align with the dates assigned to them anymore. So I don't even know how astrologers are claiming they can make sweeping truths about billions of people based solely on their birthday. I mean, I think it's a comforting illusion, don't get me wrong, but is it really rooted in reality? I don't know. I just don't think it holds up under scrutiny, but maybe you disagree. And if you do, you should call in because the show is starting right now. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Truth Wanted. I am your host, Objectively Dan. This is the live call-in show that happens every single week, Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time. We talk to people about what they believe and why. And of course, Truth Wanted is a product of the Atheist Community of Austin, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the promotion of atheism, critical thinking, secular humanism, and the separation of religion and government. If you want to call in, you definitely should, because we have open lines right now. So the number for that is 512-991-9242, or call through your computer at tiny.cc/calltw. Every single week, folks. Always try to have a special guest. This week is no different. I got Tracy Wilbert hanging out with us today. Tracy, what's going on?
Not a whole lot, man. Just trying to suffer through all the craziness that's been happening lately.
Oh, yeah. A lot of craziness. That's a good way to put it. I need to point out that you are not in the same room with me, but you did line up your green screen in such a way that the full Truth Wanted logo goes across both screens. And now the illusion is a room because you moved your arm, but it looks kind of funny, and I kind of dig it. So we're rocking it tonight. I like it.
I think it's really fun too.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of crazy stuff, as always, we have a prompt every single week that we're asking you guys to answer, and some of you guys have some pretty crazy answers for that. So let's dive in to the We Want the Truth segment. Last week, we asked you guys, complete the joke, 3 flat earthers go to Antarctica. And here were some of our favorite answers for that. Number 3 comes from Godwin_7, who says, 3 flat earthers go to Antarctica. The first fell deep into despair. The second stubbornly denied reality. And the third has joined our spherical Earth conspiracy. So I do like that you ended with conspiracy there. That's pretty good. How many people does it take for it to be a conspiracy, right? Because, Truman Show was just one guy.
Realistic for them to upkeep.
Yeah, but I mean, Truman Show was just one guy that didn't know, and that's still a conspiracy. So what's the limit here? Is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see. People who aren't in the know. I see.
Right, exactly.
I don't know, because you're right. I always picture conspiracies as like more people are unaware than are aware.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah.
But what if like right now, like you were living your own little Truman Show thing and like everything was fake? That's kind of a conspiracy, right? So I don't know.
It's another one of those potentially unfalsifiable things. If they're smart enough to trick me, then it's unlikely I'll ever be able to figure it out.
Maybe so.
But until, as soon as I get any inkling that that's what's going on, I'll start investigating it. But until then,
we'll be on the case for you. We'll be on the case for sure. I guess I wouldn't be helping you in that circumstance, though. I think I'd be in on it. Anyway, let's continue here. Number 2 from last week's answers comes from Chuck Gatos, who says 3 flat earthers go to Antarctica, and one of them says, let's make our next nutty idea refutable in Tahiti, which is like a very good dad joke. Solid dad joke points for that, Chuck Gatos. Excellent job. Class act. And number 1 also comes from Chuck Gatos, who says 3 flat earthers go to Antarctica, and such a concentration of brilliance made it seem like the sun never set. So that is pretty good responses from you guys. Of course, we have a new prompt for this week, and this week is going to be, what did the talking snake say to the talking donkey? So I want you guys to get real creative with this one. I want this to be the next, y'all remember like months ago where Kelly was like, what does Jesus and a cheese pizza have in common? And that ended up being like our most responded to question ever. Like, I want to see some creative stuff with this one. What did the talking snake say to the talking donkey? I know you guys can be creative with it, so tell me what you think. But Tracy, I know you got an answer for this. What do you got?
It's the best I could come up with, and it's wow. It looks like anyone can get a speaking role nowadays.
That's pretty good. That I exhaled air sharply, so that got a response. That's
highest
good.
Praise, highest praise.
Absolutely. I imagine, a little Pixar thing going on there. Like they're getting. That'd be funny if they got real snakes for the roles of like a snake character in a movie, and they just
then they'd be doing the Lion King bad CGI on their mouth.
Yeah. And it'd be even funnier because like they would do extra CG, but it's like a real animal noise anyway. So yeah, that's true. I don't know. Anyway, leave your comment below. Tell us, what did the talking snake say to the talking donkey? And come on, give us your best shot. I know you guys can bring it. And just as a reminder, we do have open lines. So the number is on the screen if you want to come talk to us. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in Bigfoot? Do you believe in the flat earth? Do you think we're all just wrong? Or is there some conspiracy that's been on your mind and you need somebody to talk to about it? This is the place to do it, folks. So come on, call in and we'll talk to you. Tracy, I am on the show with you today, of course. And you just recently started a new show with friend of the show, Eli Slack. So tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah. So we started a show. It's called Honest Apostates. It can be found on YouTube. What we're doing there is we are trying to just have a general conversation. We want to talk mainly about religion and epistemology, how we know things to be so, and as well as the different ways that people study these theological questions. Mm-hmm. And what we're working on right now, we started recording that today actually, is a Bible study, essentially, where we're going to be going through and reading bit by bit through that big old thick book. And then once we wrap that up in 10 years, then we're going to start on a different holy book. And in the meanwhile, we've got a few other things in the works.
You're going from beginning to end, like yes. Genesis to Revelation.
Yes. That is the mission. That is so. The mission.
How much are you going to do per episode?
So our first, we recorded 3 episodes at once. We're trying to keep the episodes shorter, and we got all the way through Genesis 2 in 3 episodes. So it's
you got
be
a long way to go.
I said 10 years. I said 10 years.
I mean, yeah, as long as you can keep putting out content, like, I don't know, like numbers, right? Like some of those books, you're going to have a bad time.
We've had discussions about numbers and the begats and the various, a temple this wide and this and the ark and all that. And we're going to be skipping over some things that are just fluff as far as we can tell. But Genesis is really important. You got to dig into that pretty heavy.
And the problem is too, because you're not looking at it in the original language. Really, none of us are, right? Mm-hmm. Even the ones who study, the stuff really closely don't have full, complete copies of everything that exists in the Bible, right, from its earliest writing. So it's like there's always questions about what the hell some people are talking about in some of those passages, right?
Yeah, there's this one where we think we have a pretty good answer, but it's when they're talking about Eve, and God refers, well, he doesn't say Eve, but before he makes her, I'm reading the KJV, because everybody loves KJV.
Right.
He says he needs an helpmeet. And it's just such a weird, unintuitive word that we had to sit down and just talk about what this character God meant by an helpmeet when he said it. And we had to look up stuff. It was crazy. Yeah, we're really trying to dig as deep into it as we can.
Well, that's good. Are you hoping to find God through all of this? Are you going to become a Christian at the end of the day? What do you think?
I mean, it's been a long time since I've read the Bible, and I didn't find him in there last time I did it.
Okay.
Maybe I got the KJV this time, and he's actually in this one. So
have you read it all the way through before, or is this going to be
that was part of my deconstruction, was reading it.
Okay, yeah, same here.
Well,
and let me tell you, yeah. So you were Catholic, so you never read the Bible. So that's that's the Baptist in me talking. Although really, I was kind of half Baptist, half Methodist. But anyway, no, like I think that's what really did it for me too. And like, I'll tell you, when I decided, okay, I'm going to sit down and actually read this thing through, I didn't do it from start to finish. I did like do different sections at a time. And man, it was just way more boring than I thought it was going to be a lot of times. It's boring and weird is how I would describe it. It's like
torturing myself to read it. It's at points. Yeah. At points. Sometimes it's a decent read, but a lot of the time it's like, I sat down while I was preparing to record with Eli. And in the beginning of Genesis, when they're just going, Adam lived for this many years, had kids, and then lived for this. I sat down and I just did all the math. And I was like, all right, now when somebody asks me how I know that the Bible says that the earth was created 6,000 years ago, I have the receipts. And I was just trying, it was a whole pain.
Well, also too, when you're a Christian, I was like most Christians where I just read piecemeal portions of the Bible, like reading from beginning to end wasn't a thing you did, or if you did, you did it in like a Bible study group or whatever. And so like reading it front to back also just kind of made me realize, and also reading stuff I had never actually read for myself before was kind of interesting. But like when I did that, there was a lot of moments I remember where I was like, oh, that's how this story goes. Like, that's it, huh? Okay, that's kind of weird. Like,
because the pastor Noah always does his editorializing, where he changes little things, make it more palatable.
Like I realized when I was an adult at this point, I was probably like 19 or so. Like, oh, I never actually read the story of Noah all the way through, because that's a story you hear when you're a kid as a Christian, and so like you don't really I mean, maybe there's some people who study as adults for some whatever messages you get out of it, but like that's like a kid's Bible story classic all the way through, and reading as an adult like makes even way less sense than people even give it credit for, because it's like there's all different versions going on at the same time. It's very weird.
It is odd. We haven't gotten there. No, I did just get past that in my new reading, and it is weird. And like the thing they talk about there's all this stuff that was made up after the fact too. Like people say, well, Noah offered to let people come on the boat. It's like, no, where'd you get that? As far as I'm aware, it didn't say it in there while I was reading it, but
and just like I don't know,
the giants that were walking the world.
Giants walking the world, that's always a good one. And also just like, we actually talked about this, I think a week ago or so on the show, where it was like, oh, the flood story is actually multiple myths, or maybe all kinds of stuff, different ideas, or it took place at one time there was a flood and people wrote about it. It's like, yeah, this doesn't sound like that though. Like it sounds like this whole other thing. Like the only commonality between that and reality is that like floods happen, not whatever the fuck happened in the book of Noah. Not book of Noah. The book of Genesis. But Genesis has the story of Noah. But anyway, very silly stuff. So yeah, Bible reading. Well, good luck to you. I mean, I would not do it again. I'll tell you that. The only time I do look at it is if people are trying to call me up and tell me about a story, and I have to be like, no, actually, I'm pretty sure it says this. So
because we're going to be trying to do a show, like a live show sort of in this format eventually, I want there to be receipts proving that I have read it. So there's just, hey, if you want a proof that I've read it, I recorded a ton of videos.
That's a good point. A good point.
Maybe you can say I'm wrong, but you can't say I didn't read it.
Yeah. Oh, you got it out of context or whatever, which, yeah, of course, everybody gets it out of context. We don't know the context, but maybe you folks at home disagree. Maybe some of you are hearing us and are outraged by us making fun of this text and think that we're stupid for it. Well, if you do, come tell us about it. We want to know your thoughts. And that being said, I think we should go ahead and maybe start talking to some people. You want to talk to some folks?
That's the part I've been most excited about. I'm excited to talk to you, but
Well, thanks. I'm glad that you get to be here, and let's see what the callers have to say to you. But before we get started with that, we have to thank the wonderful, amazing patrons that help support this broadcast every single week. I'm always giving a shout out to the patron of the week. If you want to become the patron of the week, you got to donate on the Patreon. It's tiny.cc/Patreon-TW to do that. And you get your name shouted out on the show if you do. So this week's patron of the week is going to be Kalevi Helvetti. Thank you so much, Kalevi Helvetti. I've said his name so many times because they also donate on Talk Heathen, and I still can't say your name super fast. So Kalevi Helvetti, thank you so much. Oh, that wasn't bad. Thank you so much for donating, and thank you to everybody that donates on the Patreon. You guys are amazing. With that out of the way, though, it's time to talk to some people. First up, we have a interesting name here. We got Brundlefly. Brundlefly calling in from Texas. Brundlefly, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
Hey, Tracy. Hey, Dan. Thanks for taking my call. The topic tonight is astrology. There was a very interesting experiment done in the 60s in France. Do you know about this? Have you heard this?
Haven't heard about it, no.
Don't know if I do. Yeah, tell me about it.
Some debunkers ran an ad in a newspaper, and they said, if you will send us your time and location, your exact time of birth and the location, we will give you a free, professionally done astrological chart. And about, I think, as I recall, 60 or 70 people responded to this. And then they did a follow-up survey and asked how accurate was the chart. For you, 90% said it was very accurate or perfectly accurate. 94% of their friends and relatives said it was very accurate. They then revealed that that was the professionally done horoscope of a serial killer. They all sent them the same horoscope.
Wow.
I thought it fit them perfectly.
Jeez. Yeah, that's pretty
suggestion, man.
I'll tell you this. Wait, oh my God, I'm having a flashback here. I can't remember if I told this story or not. Like last week, I'm blanking out here. But I have a therapist. I love my therapist. She's really great. I've talked to her for a couple of years now. And recently, I was talking about my partner with her, and she asked me when she was born. And I realized it's because, she wanted to know like her sign. So my therapist is like completely non-blue, really great, but does like astrology. That's like the one thing she's into. Everybody has those things, I guess, whatever. And I don't know, she was asking about her sign and then like my sign. And, we were talking about my personalities. And she was like, oh, well, it's weird because it's weird that you guys are together like that or have that dynamic since like she's a Leo and you're a, Aquarius or whatever. And I don't know if it was because I was feeling especially snarky that day or what. And I was just like, yeah, just because that's probably because it's just bullshit, right? And like, I've known her for a really long time, so I think she took it in stride. But like, it felt kind of weird just calling out my therapist for astrology bullshit. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it's definitely a really popular thing. That's a pretty interesting story. What do you think, Tracy?
I've always called astrology space racism because there doesn't that seems to be what it is. Yeah. Just grouping people together and assigning them qualities based off of some arbitrary thing because I decided that.
Yeah, like I get why people like MBTI or even like Enneagram, because like at least those are kind of based off of observable patterns in a way, right? Like at least there's something going on. Like astrology just has just nothing. It's just absolutely made up. I don't know. Yeah, I've never been impressed by it. I've always been surprised that people are into it, and it's such a popular thing. I'll never get it. Never will. But I don't know. That was a interesting story, Brundlefly.
Here's the funny thing about astrology. When you look up in the night sky, do you see lions and crabs and bears? I don't. I see a collection of stars. Those patterns are just made up. We just looked at it and made up a thing. So, it's all one big sky. By the way, I had a wonderful therapist years ago who was brilliant and very helpful, but she was into collective consciousness and a lot of woo stuff. So we just stayed away from that. We just didn't, she was into the 100th monkey parable,
Oh yeah. You should talk about that because I don't know if we've ever talked about that on the show.
Please talk about it.
We absolutely have, but you've had 1,000 guests on since then. Yes, in the 50s, a group of Japanese scientists were doing research on some of the islands there in the area, and they showed some of the macaques how to wash sweet potatoes, which made them more palatable. And then Lyle Watson, in his 1980 book Lifetime, reported that macaques on distant islands, once a certain number of these macaques learned how to do that, macaques on distant islands also learned how to do it. Well, that never happened, and he later admitted he made it up. They've actually asked the scientists, the Japanese scientists who were there, no, we don't know anything about that. That never happened. But yet the 100th monkey parable still gets widely reported as how all consciousness is collected. And you only have to scratch the surface on these things. From Roswell to any weird report, you only have to look a little bit to figure out, oh, that's not real.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I don't know what people were doing before the internet. I'm gonna be honest with you, because it seems like you just heard something one time, like, and you just believe that forever. Like, oh, John Travolta is from Maine or something. Like, I could just say that at a family dinner table, and then that's something you believe for the rest of your life. And because who's gonna correct you? How do you know if that's wrong, right? I feel like that happens with a lot of things, not just silly stuff like that, but also, maybe some bigger stuff. But astrology, I mean, like, there's so many grifters with it too. That's why I think I'm a little more anti, I guess, astrology, just because, like, there's so many people that are just in it just for the money, and the people. I mean, I've seen stuff. You'd be surprised how much people spend on these reports and stuff for themselves. I don't know. It just makes me feel gross on the inside. But I don't know. That's my thoughts. What do you think, Tracy?
Well, what you're talking about people before the internet, I don't really get it either. I mean, I get there were libraries, but not everybody had the time or the inclination to go to a library and like look up, okay, and would they even have the information you wanted is another question. I think that a big part of why people hold a lot of wacky beliefs is just a blanket accepting of those things which other people around them said. Like you said, if you grow up in a town and one day a gentleman comes in and he says that and he tells you that some things are such a way, and nobody there has a way to disbelieve him, and this guy's charismatic, and he tells it to you with in a very convincing way, you're going to buy it. And then, well, that's a piece of information you have now, so you better make sure that gets passed on to your kid, and so on and so forth. And things get morphed over time, and things don't make sense anymore. And that's how we get all these ridiculousness things, like the ape man or the skunk man of the skunk ape, all the cryptids and whatnot. I'm confident just somebody saw a squirrel with mange or whatever they saw at that time, came up with some sort of crackpot story, and then over time it just gets weirder and weirder with a lot of them. Of course not all of the stories.
Well, every region has its cryptid story. I just read a book, listened to a book last month, The United States of Cryptids. Every practically county has its local story of the Puma Man or the Bear Man or the alligator thing or whatever. But some of them some of them get picked up by media, and they grow legs. They continue to grow. Here in North Texas, when I was a kid, we had the Goat Man.
Oh, yeah, I know the Goat Man. We've talked about Goat Man. Was he featured in that Ghost Hunter show?
Yes.
Yes. I was scared of the Goat Man when I was a kid. That was a real fear for me. I'm serious. I was a Boy Scout. I went camping at Camp Tahoya. And Camp Tahoya, they tell the legend of the Goat Man. And I was just young enough to be impressionable enough to believe it, especially because I was really into like Ghost Hunter shows and stuff at the time. And oh man, that stuff I was all about it, but yeah, very, very fun stuff. Appreciate you calling in, Brundlefly. Anything else you want to add before we let you go?
I did want to add one thing. Roswell. I'm so fucking sick and tired of Roswell. Roswell is the most thoroughly investigated and thoroughly explained of all the UFO incidents. The remains they found were plastic and balsa wood and tape. Would you build a starship out of that?
Well, if it was all I got, maybe I'd certainly try my best. But yeah, I don't think sophisticated aliens were doing that kind of stuff at Roswell. I have been to the Roswell Museum, interestingly enough, and they definitely try to take it as seriously as possible there. But I don't know, what were you going to say, Tracy?
Well, the problem is we're looking at this from a finite perspective. These are, aliens from another galaxy. We don't know what they are capable of making out of plastic and balsa wood and tape.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, you know what? Tracy's onto something here. He might. Are you an alien, dude? Are you actually from? Okay, never mind.
Me?
Oh, we're not going to go there.
No,
that's fine.
Brundlefly is. It's not me.
I would believe it. I would believe that Brundlefly could be an alien and is just like absolutely punking us out and making us think otherwise. That could be real. But anyway, Brundlefly, thanks so much.
Damn it.
Yeah, I hope not.
My call, guys.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. Have a great rest of your weekend. That story. I guess he said we talked about it before. I don't remember. He might have called in the past to talk about it. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of those kinds of stories in science of just
really check everything. Not like you really do.
Mm-hmm. A lot of mythos, about how stuff happened. So much misinformation about Galileo, for example, or like Isaac Newton and stuff. I don't know. We just kind of thrive off those myths, I guess. Even in like stuff that's supposed to be, well regarded and highly sophisticated and researched, there's still just a lot of bullshit that comes out of there all the time.
There is definitely.
Yeah. So real quick, before we move on, I do have to show you guys something. We have a special thing that we're doing in the upcoming weeks, and I have a video that I want to show you that tells you more about it. So we're going to play that on the screen right now. Take a look.
Calling all free thinkers. We are excited to announce that the ACA is launching its first ever fundraising campaign, Amplify ACA, in partnership with Amplify Austin. This is your chance to expand our impact by making your voices heard and supporting the shows that you love.
We invite you to join us on March 5th starting at 6 p.m. We're going to be doing a 24-hour fundraising event and camp out live at the Free Thought Library in Austin, Texas. We've got a great show in the works, a whole variety hour with our hosts doing different things, not just taking calls like you're used to, but we're going to have the fun facts and playing some games and lots of different activities. So be sure to join us from that. Again, it's going to be really exciting, and we're looking forward to having as many people involved as we possibly can.
Donating is easy on amplifyatx.org. Just search the word atheist. We're the only ones that will come up. And click the donate button. Follow us on our socials for more information.
And this is important. We want to be able to amplify the voices of reason and compassion worldwide. So we ask you, please, donate on Amplify Austin Day to make a real difference.
Heck yeah. So check that out if you are interested in supporting a good cause. At least I think it's a good cause. And also, if you want to support us right now and get your message read out live, you can do that by donating a super chat. And as long as it's YouTube appropriate, we will read as many as we can on the air. I don't think we've had any super chats yet as the show has started, but happy to get some more as the show goes on. And with that, I'll save the other announcements for later because I want to jump into this next call because I'm excited for it, folks. We got some good stuff. We're cooking today, ladies and gentlemen. We got Martian Maggot calling in to the show from Canada. You are live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
Alien stuff already. I'm pumped.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Dan. No, I tried to send a picture. I don't know if you got it or not.
I do have the picture, and I'm happy to talk about this. Is this what you want to talk about today? This picture you've sent me?
Yeah. Or other stuff too.
Okay. Well, what's the other stuff? Wait, because like if you have a picture, I feel like we should talk about that first, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Actually, hold on. Here's what I'm going to do. Maybe you should start talking about that other stuff first while I put this into OBS here. Actually, I should get this picture and put it in my background so everybody can see it. So give me a sec while I do that. Tracy, You got to stall for me, okay? Say something funny or cool.
Okay, I'll stall. So, Martian. I'm sorry, it's covered up. Can I just call you Martian, or do you need the maggot on there? It feels disrespectful.
Or you can call me Daniel.
Daniel. Okay, Daniel.
Yeah.
Give us a little preview of the other stuff. Like, give us a little preview of the other stuff other than to hype us up while we're waiting.
Well, last time I called, me and Dan, he called. I mean, we were talking at the end of the show, and he had to end the call, and we were talking about the alien abduction phenomena, and because I didn't get to make my final point because Dan, he had to move on. I understand, so he had to cut me off, and that's fine. But I wanted to make a point. What we were talking about was the liar, lunatic, or Lord argument about Jesus Christ, and my argument about
where I think it is,
which is.
You think?
Sorry,
my
Jesus was
theory,
an alien.
No. He's not saying that. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I got excited.
No. Okay, sorry. Yeah, about Jesus, the liar, Lord, or lunatic. No, liar, lunatic, or Lord. And I say about alien abductions, and I had three possibilities, and I say that they're lying, or it's a mental phenomena, lunatic, if you want to say, or they're telling the truth. What happened to them physically happened. It exactly happened to them. And when I said that to Dan, he said something about he has relatives who believe that Jesus is visiting them. Because I said the difference between people who have religious sightings, whatever. What I was trying to say was that they are dealing with the supernatural, whereas the alien abduction phenomena, I think, is just coming from the natural universe. These aliens are coming from the same natural universe that we come from, whereas the people making this religious claim, that's a supernatural claim. And we have no evidence for a supernatural world. I think you'd all agree with that. But we have.
I do agree with that. The problem is, of course, I don't think that we have natural evidence for aliens, at least not yet, right? I haven't seen.
Hold it. No, you didn't let me finish, Dan.
Okay. Okay. Well, you've been going for a bit here, so go ahead, finish up.
No, what I was going to say is the difference is that there is a supernatural claim, but I'm making a natural, and there is evidence of a natural universe that produced a planet, that produced a civilization. And this civilization produced technology, and they're getting out into space, this planet. I think you heard about it, where we all wake up to it every fucking day.
Yeah.
So there is evidence for a natural universe that these aliens could come from. We came from.
There is evidence that it's happened at least once, but like just because you see a bear somewhere doesn't mean that there's evidence that there's bears everywhere. You know what I mean? Like you can't just say that for all existing life. But here's the thing, Dave. I have the picture ready. It is behind me, so we're gonna do this today. This is how we're gonna do this because I need to give my thoughts on this. First of all, I had to blow this image up because this was an image for ants. This was the smallest. This was like this was like postage stamp sized. I don't know if you realize that. Really small. So I had to blow this thing up. It is not going to look good, but we're trying our best here. But I got it on screen here. Tell me what I need to see.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, sorry about that. I just sent a small image because I thought that's the best thing to do.
No, you definitely got to send the big one.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. I'm just.
That's okay.
Because I'm using my phone. Because I'm using my phone to do it, and if I'm afraid if I hang up on you, I'll get cut off or something.
Or just pull up. You don't have to see it on my screen. What you do is you have the picture, right? Just show me on what you see on the picture and what I should be seeing. Because I'll tell you what I think I see right now. I think I just see a bunch of rocks. I don't think I really see anything. I don't see any aliens or anything. So what am I missing?
In the middle of
red dirt.
in the middle of the picture, there's a blurred out image. Oh God.
You talking about,
Sorry about
okay, so it doesn't help that this is, again, an image for ants, because it's already pretty blurry and I had to blow it up, so the quality is not good. I'm assuming you mean this sort of center mass. I feel like I'm the weatherman right now. Here's this center mass over here is what we're going to worry about. Okay. It looks like it's just because this rock is closer in frame than the stuff behind it, so it's, you know, it's just not in focus. Yeah. Hello, are you there? You might have muted yourself on accident if you're on your phone. Martian maggot. No, come on. We got the picture on screen and everything. You can't go away now.
I need to know what this blur is supposed to be.
Can you hear me now, guys?
There we go. Oh,
There we go. Hi,
I was
Daniel.
so worried. I thought we'd lost you. Okay, enlighten me here. What am I seeing? What am I supposed to be looking at?
Well, I just tried to resend a bigger file. It's
Okay.
a blurred image is what it is. It's
You did send a bigger one. I'll try to get the bigger one on screen and while we're talking. But like, what? I don't get what I'm like. Why is this supposed to impress me? I guess. Like, what am I supposed to be seeing here?
Well, I'm just trying to show you a blurred image that they're obviously don't want you to see something. You can hopefully the bigger image you'll see that there's a blurred square, rectangular blurring around it. There's something under the blur. I mean, you guys really don't see this? I hope my.
I see the blur. This can.
Yeah, and
had to be like zoom enhance. I just did some NCIS on here. You're saying this is purposefully blurred? This right here?
Yes.
And that's the cover up?
It's obviously purposely blurred. Look at it. There's a rectangular blur marking.
I see the hard line he's talking about on the right side.
Okay, but isn't this part of I'm guessing this is part of a stitched together image, right?
It's right behind your head, Dan. It's right behind your head. Yes.
Where did you get this picture, Daniel?
From that billion pixel, it's from the.
Well, from Mars Street View?
Site that, no.
Over the Pixel site, the NASA puts out.
Remember?
Yeah. Like
the one that you can't move around on it anymore.
It looks like this is one of those shots where they did a 360 shot, right? And then they just kind of stitched it together, and it just didn't stitch quite right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Which, like, if you go on Street View right now, if you go on Google Street View, this happens all the time with pictures. They have the 360 shots, and they don't always quite work right. So I don't know. I think that's what we're seeing here.
If you look in the part that is said to be blurred, the background is in perfect resolution. It's the foreground that's blurred out. So yeah, even though there is a hard line there, I'm agreeing with the stitch together, because that's how they make these big panoramic shots, is they stitch together a whole bunch of pictures, and it's entirely within the realm of possibility that on this photograph it was focused to a further distance, and on this photograph it was focused to a closer distance. That's not a crazy stretch of the imagination there.
But the point you're missing is that this is a close-up of it. If you pan back, you'll see that the blurring is just a rectangular around that little squiggly thing. It looks like a I don't know, it's a strange like creature or something that's being.
Well, I wish you had the zoomed out one so that we could look in comparison. But
I'm trying to find it on the internet, frankly.
Well, that's a mistake. Well, you can't access the site anymore, but someone copied it, so I'll try to get a better picture.
All right, I'm a little disappointed. I thought you were going to talk about maybe this white part right here, and you were going to be like, this is an alien corpse that's just like hanging out. Like, I thought we were going to go like somewhere there, but your concern is that there's purposeful censorship happening on our Mars page.
Yeah.
And furthermore, if there's purposeful censorship, they've done a terrible job,
Yeah.
Just don't upload the photo with the alien thing in it, rather than upload the photo with the alien thing in it and just blur it, but only in this area.
Right. Yeah. Like, why not just Photoshop everything at that
not
point?
Not upload it at all.
Yeah.
Like,
people don't care. People don't care, and I already told you that they took down that you can't use that site anymore. You can't move around it anymore to look at these things. That conveniently happened in the last 5 years or whatever.
Yeah, it's almost as if NASA has been defunded. I mean, it takes a lot of server space to have entire landscapes of Mars and to display that on a government dime. They got to use that stuff for other things. That's not unusual. You know how much space it takes to take up all the pictures we have of Google Earth, right? Let alone whatever we're doing on Mars. So I don't know, that part doesn't surprise me, man.
Here's the thing that's making it really difficult for me, Daniel. I want to know what you think. Do you think there's anything behind the blur, or do you just don't know and are curious?
Yeah, that's a good question. What will we be hiding? Because it just looks like a rock to me.
No, there's a big rock there, but in the middle of that rock where the blur is, it looks like a squiggly, Roger, the guy who made the original video, thinks it's a drawing. I think it's some sort of creature. That's what I'm seeing. It's some sort of creature. And they just don't want people to know about it. They don't want the people to know.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
I can understand. So let me roll with this.
Okay.
You see some kind of creature, and they don't want people to know that there are creatures on Mars. Even though every time that we've discovered that Mars is actually a lot more interesting and possibly more habitable than we thought it was, and all this other stuff, every time someone has said that every time we've discovered that there was water on Mars and there's an active work to try and get to Mars, we're trying to get there. Wouldn't showing animals of some kind on Mars just sort of up the hype of getting to Mars and seeing these animals? What's your thought here? Because my understanding is that we're actively trying to get there right now.
My thought is that it's covering up it's a bigger issue of I've been calling Dan for a couple of years now, and my basic belief is that I've been following the ufology for the past 40 years, and one of the aspects of it I always wondered about was people are asking, where could all these aliens be coming from? It's so far to the nearest star or whatever. It's such an incredible distance. And my theory is that in the years 2000s, what I noticed more and more what were called anomaly channels were coming on YouTube, and guys were looking at NASA pictures of the moon, of Mars, of other planets, of other moons in our solar system, and noticing that there's a lot of, you can't see the surface. It's always over focused, or it's over, it's out of focus, always the surface. And when they start applying tools to it, editing tools or whatever, whatever you call it, you can uncover what's on the surface, and there seems to be structures. And my theory is that it's just that they have some connection to us. That's what's behind the UFO phenomena. I think the aliens, they live in our solar system, and they're hiding, basically, watching over us like a zoological experiment.
Oh, well, I mean, that's very interesting. But about the looking out at the other planets and whatnot, and it being overexposed and all this, there are limits to optical technology. For instance, if you take a microscope and you break off the base and you just have the focusing area and whatnot and all the lenses, you can point that 20 feet away at the other end of the room, and no amount of focusing is going to focus that. It's just outside of the scope of that particular optics platform. So I don't find it at all surprising that something that's purported to be as far away as all of these bodies are, it's very difficult to bring into focus. And I also don't find it at all surprising that when you put these unfocused images through editing software, because the way that you focus things is you take the thing you've looked at, and then when you edit photography and whatnot, you take the thing you've looked at and then you take the image and you try and either get it closer to what you saw, or you try and just change all the focuses and get it to a clearer image. But if it's so far away that you can't get a clear image, no amount of changing it is going to bring out anything. You're just going to create artifacts that you can interpret as different things. Am I making it at all any sense here, or am I just talking crazy?
Yes. No. I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that's what it is. Some of these are.
Okay. What do you think it is?
That are closer to. I think they're structures.
Okay.
That they're alien structures that are contained civilizations in a completely contained environment. That they have some technology that they can build into practically any moon or planet and build from within and create a contained environment and not have to worry about an atmosphere.
And we're a zoo, like a zoo enclosure sort of deal, is your thought.
We're the zoo. I think we're planet Earth. The apes, the crazy apes on this planet. We're the zoo. We're the planet of the apes. And I think they're watching over us. Yeah.
Okay. Are they doing anything bad? As far as you can tell, are they being mean to us? Are they being mean to us in any way that you've managed to be able to tell?
No.
Like, are they hurting us?
Completely. No, they have. What am I trying to say? They're staying away from us. The prime directive, like in Star Trek. They have no involvement in us. They're just watching us. Like I said, like a zoological experiment.
Gotcha. So there are zookeepers, but they're just sort of watching. They're not zookeepers in the traditional sense, like you said, zoologists, and they're watching us, and they're
zoologists
keeping an eye on us. They think we're funny, or are they trying to study us?
Well, we've had this phenomenon going on for the past 80 years now, since World War II, since the Foo Fighters of World War II. And I think it's the best explanation for what's going on and why they're keeping it secret. And maybe there is a slow release, I don't know, of the information. Maybe that's what's going on with the Pentagon and all these revelations that are coming out lately.
Could be.
I mean...
I just think, man, like, like if we're talking about the science of image technology, right? And if we're already having trouble even just getting the image over to me, right? Because we're having some difference in the pixel size and stuff, right? Like, I don't know, maybe there's just some other things happening here that maybe we just don't fully understand. I mean, we're even just speculating, right? Like, I don't know for sure what's going on, but like, I just think that there's just going to be infinite more possibility that there's something else going on besides aliens. There's just so many things that have to happen for the alien thing to be true. I just don't see why, and we know we've gone over this a million times, but I just will never understand why that has to be the number one in probability for you, aside from every other explainable, phenomenon or idea that could be out there.
Well, I haven't heard everything explained. Like you guys are just talking about Roswell, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to forget his name, what he used. I know. I don't want to say his name, but I know who he is.
Our previous caller was talking about it. Our previous caller.
Brundlefly. The Cronenberg reference. Roswell, for me, one of the things that's always baffled me is why would Jesse Marcel, the information officer, and the base commander, why would they think that just a bunch of plastic and wooden pieces, supposedly from this Project Mogul, were a UFO, an alien craft? I never understood that. Why would they be so dumb as to think that? Like they had experience of weather balloons and stuff. And also what happened to the rancher Mac Brazel, if it's true that the military held him, for a couple of days and for questioning and stuff, and then he came out and totally denied any. I'm just saying that there are some questions around it. I don't think.
I mean, there are social contagion kind of plays a role here, right? Like some people just kind of believe stuff just because other people believe stuff, or just some people just get really excited about an idea and they get confused about what's real and what's not real, right? Like we see that kind of stuff happen all the time with cargo cults and all kinds of stuff. And I know that you're aware of that. You've watched this show. You've seen the things we talk about, right? Like there's also just the motivation that some people like, saying that there's something out there and they like the attention they get from it. I mean, like, I'm not saying these are exactly what happened. I can't tell you that, but I'm saying like those are definitely more within the realm of possibility to me than just, oh, this one guy or these couple guys had it figured out and everybody else has just kind of covered it up. I just don't see enough reason to believe that, at least at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, I think that's pretty much all the time that we got for this one. I like having the pictures on screen, Daniel. So if you have the some more like better than this, but like I want to see some real aliens here, not just some blurred up stuff. If you got that, we should talk about that next time, and maybe we can come to a conclusion. Or you could not believe that they're aliens, but I don't know if we'll ever get there. We'll see.
Well, I think that's the problem, Daniel. You seem to want it has to be a perfectly clear picture or something like. Maybe
not perfectly clear, just not all blurred.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be better than this, right? It has to be better than this.
Right.
This can't be the minimum. You understand? Like we gotta go better.
Okay. Hey, there's a channel called. There's a YouTube channel called Alien Hunter, and this guy shows like moon structures and all that.
You guys show me your own research. You guys show me your own research here. Don't show me what the YouTubers are doing. What do you got? What's convincing to you?
Well, it is
the blurry rock, Dan.
But okay.
Anyway, I am gonna let you go. Thanks so much for talking to us, Martian Maggot, today. I like the name you've chosen this time. It's pretty good. But there you go. We had our little conversation there. What'd you think of that, Tracy?
It's a rock.
It's definitely a rock.
If you just go outside and look at rocks and then blur your eyes, that's kind of what you'll see, especially when that's just, you can see up here on the far right where your little spore creature is, that there's another colored rock. And then you see the same color over where he thinks he saw a creature. And I'm like, is it not more reasonable to just assume that's another kind of rock embedded in another kind of rock? Like,
yeah, the vertical cutoff. I mean,
crazy.
This vertical cutoff here. I'm moving my mouse, but you actually can't see it.
I see the vertical cutoff.
It's just it's consistent with visual artifacts of, stitched together panoramic images.
And if you go past the vertical cutoff, you can see a horizontal line where only the rock in the foreground is blurred and the background is in high focus. So I'm going to have to go with what you've said rather than the alien zoologist explanation.
Yeah, I mean, we can't have Bigfoot tier photos of aliens. Okay, we got to have, I'm not saying we need 4K images. That would be great.
I'll settle for 720p.
Well, I need something better than a blurry rock, because this time, like, out of everything we've seen, that's the blurriest rock of rocks, right? It's just a rock. I don't know what else to say about it.
He started out at sounding very reasonable. We have evidence of a creature, getting spacecraft and exploring other planets. And then he starts going off about, and they've been able to create entirely self-sustaining ecosystems inside these planets. And I'm like, okay, well, you don't have evidence for any of these things. We were all on the same track until you started going off about these aliens that have all of this. It's just too much. It's too many jumps. It's too do not multiply entities unnecessarily. And he just multiplied a lot of entities live. That's why I kept asking questions. I wanted to see how many things he could keep saying that were just outside the realm of any investigation.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I was also interested. It was kind of interesting story.
I was like, when there was something in my inbox, I was like, oh yeah, come on, give me that sweet, sweet alien goodness. I want to see it. I want to feel it. I want to know. But no, it's just a rock. I'm just disappointed, if anything else. Come on, man. Come on.
It's a rock.
It's a rock. It's just a rock. So what else is there to say? I'll tell you this. We did get a couple of super chats, and I should probably read some of those if crew wouldn't mind helping by putting some of those on the screen for me. That would be fantastic. We had one from Tracy Wilbert themselves giving us $20 saying, I am not an alien. Is that you? Did you actually post that?
Yeah, I did.
$20. Thanks so much. That's kind of weird. I don't know if I've ever had somebody who's actually been on guesting at the same time and also donate. I don't know how I feel about that. That feels kind of like embezzlement almost. Like it's like I'm committing a crime here.
That's the opposite of embezzlement.
Yeah, there's something weird about it. Something illegal about it.
We'll never
you did
do
it anyway.
Again, I promise.
Okay. Well, no, I appreciate it. We always appreciate the donations. Let's see. We got another one here. It's from Miranda Rensberger, who's given us some of that sweet, sweet super chat money. Thank you so much for that. Saying, yeah, Tracy, that's exactly what an alien would say, which is pretty funny.
Can't win.
Pretty funny. I think we had another super chat from Blind Limey. There it is. Gave $5 and said, is this show a stand-up debate or just another bug hunt? How do I get out of this chicken scratch outfit? Jamie, you okay there? Yeah, I hope you know what show this is because you've been on it before, and I know you've seen several episodes of it. But hey, I get it. It's for the bit. It's for the bit. And I think that's all the super chats that we have right now. So thank you guys so much for donating. And of course, if you keep donating, we'll read off some more. Real quick, I have some other announcements I need to tell you about. One is if you're in the Austin area, you can follow us on Meetup and keep up with the community events, and you can see what's going on at tiny.cc/ACA Meetup for all the information there. One of them is Philosophy Under the Stars that happens on every Wednesday night, and game nights also occur, and lots of other fun stuff. So go check that out if you haven't already. And hey, I know we're past the Christmas season, but you know what's coming up? Valentine's Day. And what better way to show your partner you love them by giving them a Truth Wanted hoodie available at our store right now, tiny.cc/merch ACA. You know you got to give your partner the goods, okay? Come on. We got all kinds of stuff for your needs. Check it out and support the broadcast by purchasing a quality Truth Wanted product. And last but not least, I have to thank the wonderful, amazing, stupendous crew that help make this show happen every single week. And there's our crew cam right now. Thanks so much, guys. These handsome gentlemen helping us put this broadcast on every single week. Super, super thankful for that. I did all of my own special effects for the Mars picture, though. I got to say, that was all me. So if you enjoyed that. It was pretty
impressive. When I first saw the creature begin hopping across the screen, I thought that was the thing he called in about.
Yeah.
Like you had pulled up a video and we were going to see him just up, but no.
How great would that have been?
It started going in circles. And I realized somebody was probably playing with it.
2 more seconds, I could have like cropped it out in Photoshop and made it like look. What I could have done, what I should have done is I should have stalled and just let you talk for a bit while you do the one-up, and then I jump into Photoshop and I get an alien picture and I just severely blur it, and I just like stick it in there and make it seem like it was there the whole time, and people being like, "Oh, wait a minute, what is that?"
Great.
Maybe for next time. Maybe for next time. That would be really cool. But let's talk to our next caller. We have someone from New York. We have Clark from New York who wants to chat with us. Clark, you are on Truth Wanted. What's going on? Hello, Clark. You are live on Truth Wanted. Can you hear us? Last call for Clark.
Clark, if you're on the web browser, you may need to tap your phone.
Yeah, or unmute yourself or something. Come on, Clark.
Hello.
There we go. Clark, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's going on? Hello, Clark. We just talked to you. Come on.
I was so excited.
Clark, you still there?
I'm here to present my deductive argument in favor of God's existence.
Okay. All right. Now we're talking a deductive argument for God's existence. All right, let's hear it.
Okay.
Are you still there, Clark? What's going on?
Big pauses.
Yeah. This is really big stuff.
Choppy on my end. I apologize.
Yeah, it's a little choppy. I don't know. Are you on a landline or are you probably not? You're probably on your cell phone or something. Are you connected to Wi-Fi? Like, what's going on?
I'm on a mobile device in the wilderness.
Okay. Well, maybe your reception isn't that good. I mean, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad of a delay. But go ahead. Maybe we can try now.
For all x and y, if x is sufficient for y, then x entails y. From there would follow that an a priori reason is a sufficient condition for any given proposition. Are you following the argument so far?
I don't know if an argument has been made. I think you've just talked about some principles of logic here. And I don't know if any of that's a priori, maybe. But before we even get into that, can we at least get like the gist of the argument? Maybe just a summary? All right, Clark, we're having some apparently major connection issues. If you can still hear me, what you should do is you should hang up and maybe try calling again. And maybe doing that will help, because right now we're having way too much tech difficulties with you, my friend. So I am going to go ahead and drop you and let you try to call back in to see what we can do, because that is not happening. We can't have a discussion like that. Oh man, as soon as you hear stuff like you gotta, for every X leads into Y, it's like, okay, yeah, sure, but man, I just start to roll my eyes a little bit.
I just want them to slow down, to say the words more slowly.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I tried typing it out and I've got for all X and Y. And then I just started falling apart. I couldn't keep up with how fast he was talking. If Y is sufficient, then, and then he asked if we were with him so far. I was about to say, no, can you say that again, please? But no, I'm interested, but it's a lot.
I had this thought too. Crew's typing to us. They suspect it might be text to speech, which is interesting.
A voice changer, frankly. That's what I was thinking.
A voice changer could be too. I wouldn't be opposed to text to speech, honestly, as long as it wasn't used for nefarious purposes, right? Like trying to pretend to be somebody or whatever. Like, obviously, accessibility tools are great for people to use if they want to talk to us. It might make it hard when there's awkward pauses or something, but like, you know, what's up? What's going on?
It was interesting, to say the least, but I don't know. I think it could have been interesting. I think it could have been way more interesting, but
yeah,
we had too many problems.
We do have open lines now, so if folks want to come talk to us, they definitely should at the number below, 512-991-9242. You know, tell us a funny story. Tell us about something that happened this week. I know some of you guys have friends and or family that probably disagree with you on a lot of things, especially recently, okay? A lot of things have been happening in the news, as always, right? But like, you know, it's been a hard couple weeks, okay? So yeah, I'm sure you guys have some stories and can talk to us about it, because otherwise it's just gonna be the Tracy and Dan show. So Do what you will with that information.
Pretty entertaining. At least I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Well, while we're awaiting some of you guys to come talk to us, we do have some other content that we can look at, and maybe crew can help get some of that content ready for us. I know we have a voicemail that we can listen to that we have not heard on this program yet. Crew, if you got that voicemail ready, you should put that on the screen, and we can do that. But they might not be ready yet because they're hearing me say it out loud right now. Here we go.
If you breathe air. Hi, this is Ben Shapiro speaking. I'm not sure if you're aware of the fact that facts do not care about your feelings, meaning that if I'm gay and I think, or I'm trans and I think that I am a girl when I'm really a guy, you know, my chromosomes are always going to tell me, my biology is always going to tell me that I'm a guy regardless of the way I feel. So facts do not care about your feelings, and there's nothing that you can do to change that. You have a lot of these stupid liberals, and they don't even know what a woman is. So congratulations for that. You accomplished maximum stupidity, according to Matt Walsh, my best buddy over here. Matt Walsh, I can't do a Matt Walsh impression, sorry. Matty, I'm not gay. Okay, guys, thank you. Bye.
Okay, so that was pretty random.
I'm flattered that he thought to call.
I don't know what, because I'm guessing the guy doesn't like Ben Shapiro. I think that's what's happening here. But it's like, do you think? I guess they thought their Ben Shapiro impression was really good and they wanted to share it with us. In that case, you know, props to you for having the courage to think your Ben Shapiro impression is so good that you want to call it and have us listen to it. Because I don't know about that one. Can you do a Ben Shapiro, Tracy?
Oh, I definitely cannot. I definitely
you don't want to try like at all?
I can try. Hang on.
Yeah, you should
give me like 5 seconds. Take me off the screen. Put it all on Dan.
Okay, he's got to get ready for it. Let me look up like what's something Ben Shapiro would say. Let's see what Google gets me. We got quotes by Ben Shapiro. Okay. Ooh, here's a good one here. Okay, I want to do one too, but okay, Tracy, you go first.
Okay. I love my wife. My wife is a doctor, and she's always good. You know, we practice the ancient Jewish tradition of vor. She vors me every night, and frankly, I think it's really, if you don't participate in vor, that's fine. You're an anti-Semite. It's fine. You just hate us. But you know, my best friend over here, he was over doing a fascist thing. Everybody's calling him a Nazi. He's not. I've been around. I know when I see a Nazi, and he's not a Nazi. So there we go. That's pretty good. The best I can do. I just fast talk and high pitch and nose. That's all it is.
This is a real quote. This is from Ben Shapiro's book, How to Debate Leftists and Destroy Them: 11 Rules for Winning the Argument. So that's a piece of quality literature that I think we should all read. So here's a quote from this. You ready? When someone calls you a racist, sexist, bigot, or homophobe because you happen to disagree with them about tax policy or same-sex marriage or abortion, that's bullying. When someone slanders you because you happen to disagree with them about global warming or the government shutdown, that's bullying. When someone labels you a bad human being because they disagree with you, they are bullying you. In fact, they are attacking your character without justification. That's nasty. In fact, it makes them nasty. So I don't know. There you go. That was my best attempt. I think you win that contest.
I closed my eyes and I was just listening, and I felt whisked away.
Did you? Okay.
I did.
Well, that's very kind of you.
He was within reaching distance.
Leave a comment below. Who gave the better Ben Shapiro impression, me or Tracy? I do want to know.
Or our voicemail, our anonymous voicemail.
Or our anonymous voicemailer. Who gave one? I know we got Kelly in the back. Kelly, can you do a Ben Shapiro? No, he says no. He don't. You want to try it?
You're muted, Kelly.
I'm not even sure I should try, because you guys were so good. There's no way I could do better than either one of you. So,
yeah, but you know what, Kelly? Facts don't care about your feelings. Okay, so maybe you should give it a shot. What's there to lose?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I could do a little bit of Ben Shapiro. I'm not sure. I really can't. But you know what? You are a bunch of fascists, and you should stop leading people into bad ideas and bad thoughts. And the worst thing that you're doing is that you're putting these pronouns on the screen. You need to get rid of these damn pronouns.
That's for, you know, I like your impression is just you kind of talking a little faster.
Yeah, it was. See, I told you.
Which is, I think it's endearing. Anyway, okay, now you have 4 options, folks. Either the voicemail guy, Kelly, me, or Tracy. So leave your comment below. Who did the best? We got to know. We got maybe we got to make this an ongoing competition where every single guest that comes on, we have to have them do a Ben Shapiro impression, and then we can have a tier list of which Truth Wanted person has done the best, huh?
There's that'll be something. No, that'll be something.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
No.
No?
Yeah.
No? Oh.
I will not.
Oh man. Okay. Well, that's something. I think we have some more screenshots as well, but I see that I think Clark is joining us again. Let's see if we can talk to Clark. So. Clark, we have you live on Truth Wanted again. What's going on?
Yes. Hello.
Okay, you're much better. Much better,
so
Clark. How are you?
My deductive argument. I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. So you have a deductive argument for God. Yeah, let's try to slow it down a little bit for us and we'll see if we can catch up.
Sure. So the definition of God is going to be a necessary and immaterial mind. And necessity there is referring to 2D modal necessity. So it's going to be the semantic thesis of a modal realist claim. Are you familiar with that?
I am familiar enough, I think, to where I could understand that. That's a very particular understanding of God, an immaterial mind. That's not what everybody says about God, but if that's the way you want to define God, I mean, that's the way you want to define God. Tracy, you have any objections to that?
I have no objections.
Okay. All right. So there you go. Go ahead.
So the first premise is for all x and y. If x is sufficient for y, then x entails y. The second premise is that an a priori reason is a sufficient condition for any proposition. So the first conclusion that would be entailed by the truth of those 2 premises is that a priori reasons entail propositions. Do you accept that first part of the argument? Or what's the second part?
I don't know if what's an example of an a priori reason, because I don't know if that's really a thing.
Yeah, so a priori reasons are going to be forms of inferential justification that do not derive from any sort of experience. So an example of that would be the conjunction of a necessary proposition with the predicate concept that's contained within another necessary proposition. That would be an a priori form of justification.
I mean, is it a priori though? Like, what makes that a priori?
So a priori just means that it exists independently of any experience. So I'm saying that there are a priori reasons for belief, and that would entail that there's a priori justification.
Yeah, but like, what's an example of an a priori reason for a belief? Because like you gave me a semantic structure by which an a priori reason could be justified, but like I don't understand why that's a priori and stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like, that just seems like I don't know, doesn't really seem like much. Hello, Clark, are you there? Hello? Come on, Clark, don't do this to us twice. Oh, we can't hear you. Well, Clark, I'm going to put you back in the queue, and we will get to the bottom of this. I will say, yeah, go ahead, Tracy.
Well, we left my realm of understanding fairly quickly. That's why I said I have no, what I say? I have no complaints or whatever it was I said, because I can't find fault with something I don't understand. So I was just ready to bow out and let you take that, and just listen and try my best. I'm reading in our comments over here. I saw something from a Miranda that said, and it's a thing I've noticed before. If you define God as necessary, then you've already, there's no more discussion to be had. And he goes on to say that the necessity of a 2D modal realist, and I was just like, there was too much jargon going on for me to really follow all of it.
Yeah, so I'm no big city lawyer, okay, but I've read a book or two in my time. I think I could kind of get what he's getting at, and Miranda is absolutely right to point this out, because usually when you do these kinds of arguments, you're never going to say God of the Bible, you're never going to say God of Christianity. You're going to have some sort of non-common, non-civilian, usage of the word God, which is fine, like, as long as you understand what you're talking about there. And when we're talking about a priori reasons, that's also a thing that gets very suspicious for me, because a priori things are supposed to be things like 3 + 3 = 6, right? These sorts of things that you don't need actual experience to understand if something's true. That's true because by definition it's true. If you accept number theory as the way that most people like understand it, then the system makes it true in and of itself, right? But that's only true because we've built systems like that, right? We've built these kinds of abstract concepts that follow these kinds of rules and stuff, right? So when it comes to like stuff like God, I don't know how you can do that. Like, I can't a priori reason rocks into existence, or I don't know, this cup into existence. So I don't know how you could do that with God, who is also, going to have some issues, maybe because he's immaterial. You don't have to, but I'm interested in a God that is material, that has done material things or affects the material world, which would make me open to experience. I wouldn't have to use a priori reasoning, right? I could just use a posteriori or reasoning, right? But I don't know. Maybe he was going to address that. I don't know.
Maybe he was going another day. And Kelly is agreeing with the not accepting necessary. But so you were talking about math there, like 3 + 3 = 6. That's an a priori because the thing about math, as far as I understand it, is descriptive of the universe, and we use the different axioms and presuppositions that we use in math just to avoid all of the messy problems, and we can get to an actual usable model. Is there anything that we would use a priori reasoning for that we aren't that isn't descriptive of an outside? I'm
math doesn't have to be descriptive of the universe, right?
Math isn't descriptive of the math doesn't have to be descriptive of the universe.
Math doesn't have to be descriptive of the universe, right?
I don't know of any time it isn't, but I wouldn't be closed off to the idea that it isn't always.
Well, we use math, for example, to render graphics and things all the time that are sort of images within themselves. They don't have to necessarily tell us true things about anything, right?
I don't know.
I could show you a graph that says number of giraffes in this room right now, 15. And that's not actually telling you anything true, right?
Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I did a bad job presenting what I was trying to say, and I think I did because I am wont to do that. But it's the fundamental concepts of math, like what you said. For certain definitions of 3 + = 6, 3 + 3 will always equal 6, and so. That's more like, I don't know. You added the word giraffe, and I feel like that's cheating because giraffe is not a mathematical term. You used a non-mathematical. Anything can be.
Exactly.
I suppose, if you just make one. You're right. I'm wrong. It doesn't have to be. You can just make up new math.
Yeah.
Let's make base Q.
Yeah. No, I mean
that's base Q.
You can absolutely do it, and it doesn't. I mean, like the thing that makes math useful is that it's fairly consistent. Right. Besides, very particular arguments that get made about the basis of math, these sort of underlying axioms and stuff that get really philosophically hairy. And there's a lot of people that have debates about the exact completeness of math. But that's why it's useful. It is a complete system, right? So at least we try to make it a complete system. So I'm not opposed to using math to describe things, and I don't think it's not useful. but like I don't think it's whether it's a feature of the universe or not, that's a much more controversial claim, I'd say. But we're getting into some hairy territory here.
Trying to fill time so we can get callers, man.
Yeah, we do have some other folks who want to talk to us. Maybe we should just jump on to our next call here. We do have Dan who wants to talk to us from Canada. So let's just jump right in. Dan from Canada, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
Hello, Dan. Hello, Tracy. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. Dan from Canada, what do you have for us today?
So I've had this idea kicking around my head for a long time that the more advanced we get as a species in regards to technology, the less evidence that we leave of our society and our modern day species. So I'm wondering if in the sands of antiquity, a powerful ancient civilization could have had advanced technology that ended up being advanced to the point that they didn't leave signs of it, and we've just kind of overlooked it.
Yeah. So wait, is this a question? You're asking what's the possibility that it basically aliens were here and then just kind of left, or what?
Well, they don't necessarily have to be aliens. I mean, okay. I know I bring them up like every other call, but no, like, so on a small scale, let me give an example of what I'm talking about, and then maybe my idea won't be so crazy. 100 years ago, we used to create music with instruments of the time, and we have evidence of this through physical recordings of the music, paper copies of sheet music, people having books talking about, we have all this physical media about music and the music of the time, so we can recreate bar songs from the 1900s.
Yeah.
Jump ahead. Now we're in an era of digital storage, MP3 music, and new creations, electronic media, electronic music. There's not a physical item that I can point to after the fact that isn't just a storage media. And storage media don't last forever in the digital age. They become obsolete and inaccessible.
Are you talking about something akin to the Silurian hypothesis?
I don't know, because I don't know what that is by its name.
Look into that. From what you're telling me, it sounds like you'll like it. But I understand what you're getting at. And the only real problem for me is, yes, that may have happened, but due to our limited ability to find just the environment on Earth isn't really conducive to things surviving for very long. For instance, we know through archaeological findings and genetic research that, humans were widespread across the Earth at a very early age of our species. And it is necessary for us to have had pretty advanced seafaring capability. I'm not talking, crazy, but good ships that can sail the high seas. And we just don't have any of those boats. We can't find any of those boats. We can't find even drawings of any of these boats. We know that they must have had boats because they got across the ocean, but we don't have any of them. That we can't really have any of them. So we're talking so far back in the past that even if it were to have happened, I don't see how we could possibly know, because what sort of evidence would we expect if that were to be the case? We wouldn't have any, just due to the natural consequence of being on Earth in our oxygen and nitrogen rich atmosphere with all of the, tectonic movement and the acid and base that falls from the sky with regularity. I don't know how we would ever even find that out. It seems like a fairly unfalsifiable claim.
Yeah. I think I tend to agree. Like, you know, if Tracy killed Kelly, okay, and I knew that it happened. I saw it. But and we went to court over this, and you know, even if it was absolutely true, it was recorded in the universe that it happened. If we don't have any evidence to that, it wouldn't be just for us to put Kelly in jail for it. It's like we weren't able to demonstrate
Kelly's
that,
dead.
even if it was absolutely true. And
Kelly would have been passed if I killed him.
Yeah. So, you know, he's the only witness to the crime. So you can get away with it. But what I'm saying is sometimes it doesn't matter if it's true or not. It just matters if we can demonstrate it to be true. Right. I think this is the key thing here. It's like, yeah, it could be. And maybe it did. But like, if I can't prove it to be true, it's not reasonable for me to say it's true. So I don't know if I really worry about it too much. Right. Maybe we find some evidence somehow, some way that absolutely something like that could have occurred. But right now, I don't think it's out there. I don't think we have it.
Well, I won't say that there's necessarily evidence or proof. Evidence is kind of iffy of a word, but I'm drawing conclusions from things I've put together in my own mind. So could megalithic structures be that leftover evidence that we had technology that we don't now? Because we have things that we still can't understand or reproduce.
You mean like pyramids or like what? What do you mean?
Yeah, pyramids or older structures, the giant, you know, the problem of giant rocks being piled in such precise manners that we can't get tools between the gaps. We can't recreate the same way of doing the Greek columns. There's stuff we don't understand still.
Okay, Kelly is. I'm gonna let Kelly in right now. He's about to type some stuff in the chat, but he wants to talk to you. I think Kelly. Let's get Kelly in here. Kelly's getting fired up. Put that man on screen. Kelly, go ahead.
Yeah, Dan, you just said something that really irks me, and I hear it a lot from people with these ideas, is that the stones are so close together you can't fit anything between them. Well, Dan, if I just took 2 bricks and just set them up on top of each other, you can't fit anything between them, because if you could, the top brick would be floating in the air. It would be levitating. So yeah, of course you can't fit anything between the rocks in the pyramid or some ancient building, or say the wall at Sacsayhuaman, right? Because if they're stacked, there's no space there. That's it. That's all I wanted to say, because I hear that all the time. And it's just, I mean, if you think about it logically, it's a really stupid statement.
Thank you, Kelly. More news from Kelly at 10. You know, like he's always got the tie on. It's always great. Anyway, there you go. What do you think about that, Dan?
I think it has to do more with the supposed smoothness of the surface, because while I might not be able to get my finger between 2 bricks, 2 rough-hewn bricks, I could get a like a spark plug gap tool, thin piece of metal gauge kind of thing. A probe like that could fit.
Where are you buying?
Do you think it would be more likely that a spark plug gap tool was used to make bricks than something else?
I'm talking about just things you measure the distance of. Yeah.
Okay, I think I see what you're saying, but I guess I don't like the idea. Is still kind of doesn't make sense, because if you are this advanced civilization and you're doing all this stuff, why are you still working with rocks and bricks and stuff? Why wouldn't you be using something else, right? Like, it just seems like every material we have left over seems to be concurrent with just ancient societies, right? Like, there doesn't seem to be any extant technology or technique that we have recorded that would demonstrate we'd have a reason to believe they were using anything else otherwise, right?
And if you take 2 rocks and you put them on top of each other and you just sort of rub them together, eventually, because they're both abrasive and made of granular material, for the most rocks are, as far as I've seen, they will fit together really, really, really well. So like this does, and if you just leave it to set there for, you know, hundreds of years, thousands of years, however long, it doesn't seem at all surprising that they would form to each other with such you said precision, but it doesn't seem at all shocking that would happen. Why are you shocked by this?
Yeah.
Well, damn, guys. I mean, you know, here I am with my lofty ideas, and you're just so full of logic and reason. No, interesting things to think of, and
we have a geologist on our side, to be fair.
That's true. We have a learned man who can tell us these things. Because Lord knows that's not my expertise. Okay.
I mean, there may in fact be evidence for this, but until you have something other than rocks that fit really well together, I'm not going to be able to buy into any sort of even a pre-industrial civilization.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on the same page. Dan from Canada, any last thoughts before we let you go?
No, thank you, gentlemen, for taking my call and letting me discuss this idea.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We enjoyed talking to you, Dan, because you know why? Because you are nice about it. And you know what? He said nice things about us. So how can we be
like
wrong?
Talking to him. He was real nice.
Exactly. I loved it. Dan from Canada has called him before. Great guy. And also
Canuck was real nice.
I'm wondering where Dan's at in his journey, because Dan's been going on a journey in his thoughts, and maybe next time he calls, he can tell us where he's at on the whole, you know, God thing, and also human beings in history thing. I don't know. We'll see. But
it would be interesting.
We are getting close towards the end of the show. I want to thank Tracy Wilbert for joining me today. Tracy, thanks so much for being on the show with us. Look at him.
Thank you. Yeah. I've enjoyed it. This has been a ride. I've loved this.
Great. And I am glad that you enjoyed it. And if people want to see more of your content, seeing what you're out there producing, where should they go to?
You can go to The Honest Apostates, just Honest Apostates at YouTube. We don't have a whole lot put up yet, but we are working on it. We started recording really in depth last week, and we're getting a lot together. We just got to get some edited and put up.
All right, so go check that out if you want to see more of Tracy's content and Eli Slack's content. If you want to see more of old Eli and see what he's up to. I want to, of course, thank everybody who donated tonight. Thank you to all the patrons, and thank you to everybody that watched this show live. You guys are amazing. Kelly is going to be around for an after show if you want to go hang out with Kelly and ask him some questions about rocks, or piss him off about rocks maybe too. You know, that's an option. I think he'll be down for it. But also, of course, thanking the wonderful, amazing crew again for making this show happen every single week. You guys are awesome for that. I want to remind folks, too, that the prompt this week is going to be, what did the talking snake say to the talking donkey? And I want to see your most creative answers. So leave them below, and we might read the best answer. Well, we will read the best answers next week, but that might be one of yours. So before we tune out for tonight's broadcast, I got to ask you, Tracy, and I know you know it's coming, some words of wisdom. You got some words of wisdom for us?
I have some words of wisdom coming from the singer Nat King Cole. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, I mean, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah,
what a way
nice.
to end the show. What a way to end the show. Tracy, thanks so much for being here. Kelly, thanks for being here as backup as well. I'm Objectively Dan, folks. This has been another episode of Truth Wanted. Remember to always keep wanting the truth, and I'll see you next time.
Watch the non-profits and join the hosts in the live chat. Visit tiny.cc/ytnp.